And I also remember Frankie was the secretary, and at one time someone called in from the police department and said that we were going to have a bomb threat. And I always knew, and the kids knew, when Mr. Lowe came on the speaker, he would go. Ladies and gentlemen, on this interruption. On 6 period that afternoon, the speaker came on. Lowe-Merritt was evacuate the building, evacuate the building. So I told the kids, you're on your own, I'm out of this door.
Were you sitting here? Were you sitting here?
No, I'm
Okay.
That's Jean.
Jean.
Everybody's calling me.
Get it better
So I don't
angle.
have to tell you my name. I wore my shirt for identification. Since I don't have to tell anybody anymore, I just wear it. I'm Jean Lowe-Merritt. I'm just so excited about today. I just feel it's like a shower of blessings. And I started thinking in my head all the different ones that I just knew would be here. And even some we've been in touch with, but we haven't seen each other, and it's just such a joy to be here today. And I certainly want to thank God for you and you who had this idea. And then also, I have already thanked him for the fact that you did such a good job of principling, because you had such a good supporter. And that always makes it go well when you've got great support. Thank you so much. It's so good to see all of you. And I'm probably going to hug all of you again because I just love this.
I'm gonna try to get as close as I can. Oh, she's asked.
Either they can come to
All right, go ahead. You gotta move down.
Hello, everybody. I am Harriet Byra, and I was in the counseling office. And a lot of you I went to beg to pass some kids when they had not passed, because Coach McCrary was on me. Go to the teacher. You can make them give them a grade. So I knew the ones that I could probably give a sob story to, and then there were ones that, I don't care what you say, they earned what they got, and that's it. That one right there. She was not changing any grade. There's another one, not changing. And Dr. Shearer don't even go in that direction, because he was not going to talk to you. But it's good to see everybody, and of course there are some people that I see all the time, like Miss Sly and I go to the same church. And then after I retired, I worked with Catherine for a while with the foundation. So it's good to see the people that I haven't seen.
Come on, man.
Oh my goodness, I'm too young. I'm supposed to go last.
Oh my goodness. This is such a really privilege and honor. I just think about you guys all the time. These were some of the happiest years of my life, working at Columbia High School. I met my ex-husband there. Sorry. It doesn't look like he got an invitation, thank goodness. Because I was calling if he showed up. But anyway, let's see. Okay, so many department heads. Harriet was the department head of mine. Jean was a department head of mine. Catherine is a department head of mine. And y'all, oh my gosh, the best boss ever. The best boss ever. Although it was Ernie that hired me, and I was so fortunate that he did. But, and you know, as much as I love my Uncle Ernie, you were like the best. I always talk about, even when I messed up, and I'm not going to talk about all the times I messed up, you had my back, always. You would say, okay, you really messed up with that kid, or you really messed up with that parent, but this is what you do next time. And I okay, thank you. I got it. So, great boss, thank you so much. And Benny? And Dot? Oh my gosh, okay, so I have to go back to the time, this was after your time. We called him Benny, Buddy, where is he? Bob, and the boss. Y'all know who the boss was? Wasn't Frankie. Do you remember who the boss was? Benny, Buddy, Bob, and the boss. Marky Walsh.
Okay.
Or we could say Doc. Doc could take that position. I can tell too many stories. So, but let me give over the mic. I'm Helen. I was in the counseling department, and I was also an English teacher. And you gave me a chance in the counseling department. Even when Shirley didn't want me, you gave me a chance again. All right.
Yeah, I told Shirley, I said, you gonna get her?
Joan Horton White. I taught English. Catherine Turk was my department chair. Mr. Bonner hired me. I'd been at East Rome Junior High 1 year, and I came in before the end of the year, and I said, I have to let my principal know because he was in. Mr. Bonner said, you really don't. You don't have to let him know until this date. I said, oh, but I want to. He said, okay, well, I'll offer you the job. I think you told me right then. And I said, I'll take it, and it was the greatest time. When I dream about teaching all these years later, I always dream about Columbia. So it was the best place to be. Loved it.
Hi, I'm Catherine Turk, and I was a troublemaker, I guess. One Thanksgiving, just before Thanksgiving, I got a call from the central office, and they said, well, it was the last day of school before Thanksgiving, and they said, we want you to know that on Monday when you come back, you'll be reporting to another school. And I said, what? And they said, you're leaving Columbia High School. And I said, okay, that's what you think. So I went down to the central office and I met with them, and I told them that that I was not going. And they said, you don't have a choice, you have to report there. And I said, no, I'm going to Columbia on Monday. And you'll have to come and remove me and take me to the next school. So I called Mr. Bonner. Mr. Bonner said, you're not going anywhere. He said, if you go, I'm going. And so the whole staff rallied around me, and Monday morning, I was at Columbia High School. The board member had called, Dave Williamson, Zipporah Robinson had called. We were staging, going to stage a sit out and a walk out and everything else. And I never heard anything else about leaving Columbia High School until I finally did leave. But those were wonderful years. My husband used to say that it was my first home, and we lived together in the second home because I was always up there. Loved the kids, still hear from a lot of them when they come back in town because it's always been a family. So I love you guys, and this is just wonderful. Thank you, Benny, for all you've always done. And of course, Bob and Cherry are like my sisters and my sister and brother. So love you.
Love you.
And of course, I have to say one other thing. My grandson came home one day and he said, Grandma, I met one of the teachers who knows you from Columbia. And he told me who it was, and it was Joan. And he said she walked up to him and said, "You got to be Catherine Turk's son. There are not many people with that name." And so that was a blessing to know where she was.
And Catherine stood up to one of the strongest personnel managers Benny and Dot know, Alexander Richard Ward.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeanette Overton Sly, and I don't have a whole lot of stories to tell, but when I first moved to Georgia, I applied for a job in DeKalb County, and I met Sam, I don't know his name, he's in charge of dance. Sam Williams. And he told me about several schools. He saw I had an out-of-town tag, and he told me about several schools I need to go to apply. Snapfinger was one of them. And I'm going, Snapfinger, what's that? And then it was another one that's so far down in the community, I never found a school. So I went back to the county office and I said, well, is there another school I could check into? And they told me about Columbia High School. So there I went. And I worked with special needs children, and I enjoyed all of my years at Columbia. I think I spent 20 I'm telling my age, about 23 years. Mr. Lowe, I want to thank you for all your support and cooperation, and Jean Lovett and all of the rest of you for being support to me and my family at Columbia High School. Love you much, and thank you for this invitation.
I'm gonna get the breathing before I get to council. You didn't think I remember?
You better have remembered. You hired me. You know, I had started out as a elementary school teacher, and I got my specialist in reading and expected to continue in an elementary school. And the personnel office said the only places we have are in high school, and you should see my face drop. So they told me where they were, and I was to go see the principals, and we'd decide. So I went in, and Mr. Bonner made me feel real comfortable right away. But it was kind of funny. In talking with him, he said, "Well, now, Miss Frederick, tell me, how do you feel about teaching black children?" And I said, "The same way I feel about teaching white children, or green children, or purple children."
All right, all right.
So, you know, I thought to myself, well, I'll go to Columbia, I'll stay the 3 years, and then I can transfer somewhere else. I was there 25 years.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But I